off the G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
All right, welcome back, eSIMstudios. Hope everybody had a good week. Today's Saturday, going into the new week. I want to talk about OnePlus. So if I have any OnePlus fans out there, we actually get ours, the 15, on I think Monday, possibly Tuesday, but I think Monday is the delivery date. But I wanted to get into the OnePlus 15R. So, as you know, look, I've explained this numerous times, but those not familiar, the R series is like the A series, Pixel A, 9A, 8A. It's the watered down version. But the OnePlus 15R is looking like it's almost anything but watered down. It appears it's sharing many of the same features, many of the same specifications as its bigger brother, the OnePlus 15. Now, the most notable difference, and look, I've done videos on these specs. We went through the whole spec sheet. It's pretty damn close, and I believe they start at $599 instead of $899. So they basically start at $600 instead of $900. And honestly, the more I look into this OnePlus 15R, the more I think this might be a real viable option for many of you out there, right? Saves you $300 and it looks to be a freaking badass phone. It doesn't use last year's flagship CPU. It uses this year's newest CPU that was custom designed just for this phone. So you know you're going to get phenomenal specs. It's just a shade under the CPU that in performance that the OnePlus 15 rocks. Let's get into the camera system of the OnePlus 15R, because that's probably outside of the CPU, and I don't think there's going to be any issues with the CPU on this 15R. But outside of the CPU, the next thing you're thinking of, well, if it's a watered down version, what else are they kind of taking out of the 15 to reduce its price, package it up as a 15R, and portray that to the potential viewer, a potential buyer? Well, it might be the camera system, but as I'm about to get into, this OnePlus 15R actually has some amazing upgrades to the camera system. Now, it's obviously missing one camera. This OnePlus 15R comes with two cameras instead of the OnePlus 15's three cameras, but OnePlus is very sneaky, very clever. They're including some phenomenal upgrades in the hardware department of the camera system in this OnePlus 15R that we're about to get into right now, because it looks like this might be I want to say legendary device. It might be legendary status. So those potential buyers, if you're out there thinking, should I get that? Should I not get that? We'll look in. I'm about to review the camera system, the upgrades OnePlus is putting in here. It will be available on December 17th, and we'll once we review the new camera system, we are going to see if what its competition is, basically. But I wanted to, while I review this camera system, I'm going to play a video and talk over the video, but I want you to look at just how beautiful this is. This is a really nice looking phone. So let's go ahead and jump into the camera system. So the phone now uses a 32 megapixel selfie camera with autofocus. It's a massive step up from previous years that housed a 16 megapixel fixed focus unit. So they're jumping up to a 32 megapixel selfie camera with autofocus. Now, this also brings 4K video recording to the front selfie camera, something that was missing on the OnePlus 13R. For a device in this segment, this is not a small improvement. This is a huge improvement. This directly affects video calls, social media, vlogging, which arguably matters more to most users than basic like 2x telephoto sensors without optical image stabilization present. That was on the OnePlus 13R. So this new one's going to have 32 megapixel 4K video recording with optical image stabilization on the front-facing selfie camera. That's something that flagships have that you will not find on quote-unquote budget phones, right? Now, this does not mean removing a telephoto lens is automatically the right move, but prioritizing the selfie camera over a limited zoom lens, it makes practical sense. OnePlus could have kept the telephoto unchanged and ignored the front camera again. Instead, it chose to upgrade the camera that most people use on an everyday basis. I think nowadays more people use, and I agree with what OnePlus is doing, more people are using that front-facing selfie camera over that rear camera. Now, I'm talking about videos. And it's going to vary for everybody. I use my front-facing selfie camera on every phone that I have. Probably, I would say more than on the rear. I use it a lot. Now, on the rear of the OnePlus 15R, it uses the same main camera as the OnePlus 15. I'm going to repeat that. This new OnePlus 15R uses the same main camera as the OnePlus 15. That is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX906 with a f1.8 aperture and a 24 millimeter focal length. Now, the ultra wide camera on the back of this OnePlus 15R, it remains an 8 megapixel IMX355 with a quarter-inch sensor and a f2.2 aperture. Now, while the hardware stays familiar, OnePlus is bringing its Detail Max engine. Remember, they're dropping Hasselblad and bringing forward to you this new Detail Max engine. It's an in-house OnePlus design post-processing editing software. They're bringing it over from the OnePlus 15 onto this 15R, along with features like Ultra Clear Mode, Clear Burst, Night Clear Processing. It's their nighttime photo processing unit, right? The phone also supports 4K 120 frames per second video from the main camera on the back. This OnePlus 15R will be the first phone to launch with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 chipset. Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 chipset. It also includes the OnePlus G2 Wi-Fi chip and a dedicated touch response chip aiming for better connectivity and faster touch input. That's going to be brought over from the OnePlus 15. So many of the features that the OnePlus 15 has, this 15R is going to have. Now, powering everything is a 7,400 milliamp hour battery, the largest battery OnePlus has shipped in phones so far. I believe the battery in the OnePlus 15 is a 7,300 milliamp hour battery. So this has got a massive battery in this 15R. The display matches the OnePlus 15 with a 1.5K AMOLED panel, LTPO 2.0, and it jumps up to 165 Hz refresh rate. In terms of design, this phone will be available in mint green, charcoal black, and electric purple. The purple variant carries the Ace branding on the back. Now, you can purchase that overseas on online retailers, the purple version. What will be sold on OnePlus's website in the United States is two colors, the mint green and the charcoal black. The OnePlus 15R will launch on December 17th. OnePlus is going to be hosting live online events, I believe on YouTube, and we will definitely cover that on the 17th. I think let's see, I believe the other options you have are, what are the other main options? So as far as if you're looking at this price point, what are the other devices in and around this price point at around $600 that you could purchase? Now look, I'm going to say for perspective, right? Because there's a lot of different choices out there, but I'm talking about in the US. Well, I guess technically you can purchase any phone available, right? You can jump on eBay, you can get on GizTop, you can trading Shenzhen. So you can get some devices that you normally don't see here, like Xiaomi phones. But I'm talking just as a regular US person that's not going to trading Shenzhen, that's not going to GizTop. The two main, and please help me if I'm missing one, please comment down below what I'm missing. But the two main devices that come to mind are the Pixel 9a and the, what is it, the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE, right? Now that's buying brand new. You can find used phones for the $600 range that will compete directly with this. Some flagships, right? Like let's say an S25 Plus, you could probably find used on eBay for around $600, right? Possibly an S24 Ultra for around $600 online. But I'm talking brand new in and around this $600 segment. Probably the Pixel 9a and the S25 FE. Now, I'm not a big proponent of the FE series as far as phones go. I've used the FE earbuds from Samsung. But the phones and tablets tend to stay away from because Samsung really shorts them in the RAM department. They only put like 8 gigs of RAM on the FE models, and that's all the RAM you're going to see on the A series from Pixel. So you're basically capping yourself at 8 gigs of RAM outside of anything else. The base storage variants on these OnePlus 15Rs, I believe they're going to be 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and I think possibly they have a 12 gig of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. Now, they do have RAM expansion. So if you get that 12 gigs of RAM, let's say you want a 16, you wish you had more RAM, right? Well, go into the settings and bump it up, I don't know, an extra 8 gigs of RAM. You'll have 20 gigs of RAM. And OnePlus is putting in this brand new UFS, I believe. I haven't seen UFS storage options, which does matter when you do RAM expansion. I know they're using 4.0, but I think in the OnePlus 15 they're using 4.1, and I don't know if they're bringing that 4.1 UFS storage to the 15R. We're going to have to wait and see, but all that stuff matters when you use RAM expansion. But I'm just saying, you can always expand the RAM in these settings. OnePlus has always done that, and I believe they're going to do that, obviously, with this one. So the OnePlus 15R is a no-brainer when it comes to storage. Now, no-brainer when it comes to battery. Nothing else is going to come close to the 7,400 milliamp hour battery on this device. So and especially with that Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, remember, it's not the Elite. The Elite cranks out that power. It might be a better choice to honestly get this. If you're concerned, if you want that fine line between performance, you want the performance, but you want good battery life, right? I think this OnePlus 15R has the perfect CPU for you out there that want flagship level performance, but you want freaking 3 days battery life. I think you're going to get it with this phone. That's why I think this phone is a no-brainer for a majority of the people. This looks like a no-brainer. You're going to get 3-day battery life. Just phenomenal. I think they're going to sell tons of these now. They're already in sale in China as the OnePlus Ace 6. This model, the OnePlus Ace 6, which is essentially the OnePlus 15R, broke OnePlus sales records in China. So this is a very, very high in demand device. I think it'll work beautifully with all the carriers here in the United States. And I think if you do want to get one, you're probably going to want to jump on it quick. We did see the OnePlus 15 now is back ordered until I think for the year. I think they're back ordered until the first week in January. So you're seeing about a 3-week delay. I expect to see the same thing with OnePlus 15R. I think the sales of this are going to be sky high. I think OnePlus hit a home run with this. I can almost guarantee you can't go wrong with this device. It's going to be an absolute game changer when it comes to performance. And now look, if you're one person, now the cameras, real quick before we get out of here, I don't think it's a big issue. I think people online are making a bigger issue than it should be. I think you will get perfectly good looking photos, right? If the photos are your number one priority, you shouldn't even be considering this. You should be stuck on Pixel, and you should never leave Pixel, because they are top-notch photos, right? But if you want the entire package, if you want flagship performance, as I mentioned, if you want 3-day battery life, if you want pictures, videos, well, look, we just went front-facing camera. They're throwing everything in here. So I think this is going to be an absolute no-brainer and should be on the top of your list if you're looking for a sub flagship device. I wouldn't even consider this a mid-range phone. I would consider this sub flagship, meaning it's above mid-tier range. It has a flagship CPU. It's got flagship storage. It's just $600. So I think I'm going to classify this as a sub flagship, meaning it's just below flagship. Can't go wrong with this. $600 probably be the best $600 you can spend on a phone for your money. And OnePlus has been doing that with their R series for the last few years, right? 12R, 13R have just no-brainers, but this year they're throwing almost everything in the kitchen sink in here as far as specs, and you get that custom CPU from Snapdragon, and you get that phenomenal modem. Don't get it twisted. The modem plays a huge factor in this. You're getting the new, what is it, the X85 modem. I believe that comes in the OnePlus 15. So you get phenomenal download speeds, upload speeds. It should lock on to that signal no matter what service you're using. Much better than the Exynos modem that you get in the S25 FE, and much better than the Exynos modem you get in the Pixel, right? Because the Pixel and the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE are using Exynos modems. Remember, that modem does not get T-Mobile's new standalone 5G network. Only the Qualcomm Snapdragon CPUs and/or modems get T-Mobile's new 5G standalone network. So that could be another factor that you're leaning towards this OnePlus 15R. But stay tuned to the channel. We're going to cover this heavily, and I may just have to get this as well, because that's what I did last year. I think I got the 13 and the 13R maybe a month or two after it was released. So it's maybe too good of a deal to pass up. So I think I might have to grab me one. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to cover all of this and more. Peace out.